Okay, so let's get started. I am Kathy Dillon from Boost Business Services, and this is our Tuesday talk. Today's topic is going to be cost of goods sold for products. I think that will be a pretty good. We'll have a short introduction to cost of goods sold and what it means and what is included in cost of goods sold. Before I do that, I wanted to let you know some of our upcoming events. Our next Tuesday talk will be about cost of goods sold for services. You may not think that there is a cost of goods sold for services, but there actually can be. So we'll have a quick talk about that. And then the following week on the 24th, we're going to talk about PayPal and payment processors and how those operate and try to give you a better understanding of that. And then we're going to go into 2 or 3 weeks of inventory management topics. At least actually, and we'll go from there. Now, I also wanted to tell you that on January 27th, I'm holding a workshop called Inventory Management for Artists and Crafters, and it is basically practical inventory management, which is inventory management of your goods, how you set up your stock room, all that kind of stuff, and also some bookkeeping, how we manage inventory, what it means, what goes into inventory, what doesn't go into inventory, and conversely, what goes into cost of goods sold. So we'll be doing that on the 27th. And then on February 24th, we're going to talk about product pricing and how you build up your prices so that you can be sure that you're going to turn a profit on the product that you sell. And then in March, I don't have a date set yet, but in March, we're going to talk about payment processors. So that's another workshop we're going to do. And unlike in 2 weeks, we're going to get into much more detail about how they operate and how to account for them so that we can hopefully have our artists and crafting community have a better understanding of how those work. Don't worry if you missed any of this, because I'm going to put it all in the chat so you can see it later on, and including a link to the workshops. There is a $25 fee for the workshop. It's about an hour long, but I think it's more than, I think that you'll get a lot out of it. And you'll also be receiving the presentation, and you'll have access to the video for about 30 days. So there's that. And then I know that one quick little thing is I want to know what you want to talk about. These Tuesday talks, I have lots of ideas, but I would also like to hear from you and what topics are interesting to you, or more importantly, what topics are giving you trouble in your bookkeeping life. So, if you can put it in the chat or send me an email or post it on my Facebook page, I would very much appreciate it, because I would love to tailor this to the topics that are most important to you. Okay, so now let's move on to cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold, what is cost of goods sold? So basically it is the total cost associated with making or acquiring any goods sold during your reporting period. So for example, if you purchase items for resale, the cost of goods sold would be the purchase price of the item that you paid for, plus any related ordering costs. So like handling fees, freight fees, things like that, to get it to your warehouse. And then if it is if you are a manufacturer and you make your product, and a lot of crafters do, then it would be all the items that go into making that product. And I'm going to share a little example of that with you in just a minute. So cost of goods sold is based, and this is important, is based only on the products you actually sell to customers, and it doesn't include the inventory that you have on hand. So we want to make sure that when we purchase items, we are adding to our inventory, which is on our balance sheet, and we are reducing our inventory by the sales of those items. And that is actually going to be a big part of my inventory management workshop when it comes along. So there's that. And it's really about the production costs. Cost of goods sold is really about the production costs that you incurred. And it doesn't include broader overhead things like expenses for general operation of your business. So if you have a bookkeeper, rent, things like that, that aren't directly in the cost of your business, then you wouldn't include them. Those are overhead costs, and those come into huge play when it comes to product pricing, which again is in February 24th, we're doing product pricing. And so that's when a lot of your overhead costs come into play. And then you talk about how much is my overhead and how much per item, and that kind of thing. And again, that's something we're going to talk about in product pricing, and we'll talk about break-even points and how that works, and so there'll be some worksheets involved and things like that. So I hope you enjoy that. But so we want to talk about what costs are included in cost of goods sold. So there's couple of things. There's direct material costs. So and this is for people who produce their own materials, own products. So there's direct material costs, which are the raw materials that go directly into making your product. So they're the physical items that you are used to make the products, and you want to include everything. So you want to include shipping charges and sales tax paid, but you also want to include things like thread and accessories, or if you're a stained glass artist, like solder and lead and paints and things like that. And there are ways to calculate, like to say, if you solder, and if you're a stained glass artist and you solder, if you buy a big spool of it, there are ways to calculate that, so you know how much the cost goes into your specific product. Again, in my pricing workshop, you'll be able to see that, because that's an important, it's vitally important that you capture all costs before you land on a price for your product. So you have to calculate, if you use glue, if you're a furniture maker and you use glue to glue wood together, then you need to calculate that cost. You just have to. And there are ways to do it, and some really valid ways of estimating it. So we'll talk about that. But so those are things you need to include. Then there's direct labor costs. So labor costs is the dollar spent for producing your craft. So this includes money you pay to your employees, but it also includes your employees, your independent contractors, or yourself. So this is money actually paid to your employees, your contractors, or yourself. It is not money that you would be paying to your employers and to yourself. Those are usually the ones that you don't get paid. That's often the case with artists. So these are dollars that are actually paid. That goes into your cost of goods sold. So it's direct materials costs and direct labor's costs. And what I would like to do is, I don't know if anybody has any questions. If you do, please put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. I want to share my screen and show you an example. So you should be seeing it soon. On your screen. Okay, so what I have here is an example of someone who's creating a stained glass chime, right? So what they're doing is they have 6 components: glass, which is about $12 an hour, and they need 3 square feet of it. Now I'm making all this up, so this may not be correct from a real perspective, from the stained glass person point of view. So that comes out to $36 per completed item. Solder, they need 6 inches of wire. Lead, $4 per ounce, so they need $8. Any finishes, I'll put $1.30 for 4 ounces. Paints, and then labor. So in this case, the labor takes 2 hours at $15 an hour. We paid somebody or we paid ourselves, and so that would be $30. So your cost to produce this item in actual dollars is $80.85. This is the kind of thing you want to do when you're coming up with a cost and an inventory value for your items. This is this is an actual cost. This is not the cost that you use for pricing. This is an actual cost, and it will give you the value that you would use in inventory. So I would like to check and see if there's any questions. Hi, Kat. Nice to see you. Yes, an example is very helpful, for sure. To have a visual is always helpful. So one other thing is I have, if you go on my website, you will see in the resources page, you'll see a whole bunch of worksheets that you can use. And I'm going to stop sharing this so I can show you my worksheet. Stop sharing. There we go. Okay. So one of the things I have is, well, for every Tuesday talk, I have a worksheet, and it includes all the information I've given you, plus a little bit more during the Tuesday talk. And then also it will have some sort of worksheet to help you further your business along this topic. So today I'm offering, and this is no charge, I have the cost of goods sold worksheet right here. And what it will have is it has everything we just learned. And then also, and this is important, I think, for everyone. This is a worksheet, and I don't know how well you can see it, but here it is, that will help you begin to look at your components for your products and figure out a rate and a cost and the units, and figure out a cost, an inventory value cost per item. And I strongly encourage you to download it because I think it's a great resource, and it's a great way to get started working on your inventory costs and to ensure that you have correct values. So again, I encourage you to go to my website and download the free resources, sign up for the workshops. Oh, you're very welcome, Kat. You're very welcome. Sign up for the workshops and like my page, and that way you'll be able to be notified if next time I go live, which at this point I'm scheduled to go live next Tuesday. And again, we're going to talk about cost of goods sold for services. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a great day.